Hey, it's Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, and this week I am tackling a 1957 Chevy Matchbox tilt nose, flamed, side piped, big engine, chrome interior, horrible casting lines, die cast 1/64 scale car. And this was quite the endeavor, let's put it that way. I had nothing but problems from painting to trying to get rid of these lines that are on here. But I tackled it anyways. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent. It is what it is. All right, so I get this at a flea market, I think, for like $2. It's the super fast Matchbox 1957 Chevy. Overall, it's actually not in that bad a shape. I mean, it got some scratches, but everything was there. The windshield was scratched, so on and so forth. But overall, I mean, the casting itself is horrible, but the wear was not actually that bad. So to start the process, I always drill. I use multi-step bits. I'll start off with one size and I jump up to the next. And to be honest with you, I don't know what they are. I kind of just go by what size the rivet hole or the post holes are. And then I take my handy-dandy screwdriver and I'll pry it off, clean out the metal shaving so I don't put my hand in it. But as you can see, it's overall, it's pretty decent. The windshield had some scratches on it from wear, nothing out of the ordinary. The interior, because it was sealed, was pretty decent. The chrome on the bumper was a little worse for wear. And then the engine was in good shape. The front grill assembly, which is like the highlight of these cars, that needed a little work. But it is a tilt nose. The front engine just pops out. There's a little tab in the front that it's like almost like a spring tab, even though it's plastic. The grill assembly, there's two little tabs that stick through. I've seen people drill them out. I just kind of trimmed them with a file and a pair of clippers, so I could leave the tabs in there, and it allowed me to just kind of very carefully, thank God it wasn't brittle, to pry off the assembly. But you can see that body line. That runs right across the entire length of the hood, and it's horrible. And then there's one in the back too, I'll show later. So I get this M2 kit. Actually, I had two of them, and they come with big and littles. Big tires for the back, little tires for the front. They have a bunch of different ones. These are the Krager, or what looks to be Krager SS's with the red line on them, and I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm going to go with that. I drill out the hole where the axle was. These are slightly bigger, not by much though. So these wheels are awesome. You can just pop them right on. I'm not sure even if I had to trim the axle on the front. In the back I did. But they pop right on, a little snug, which is what you want, but you just got to be careful when you press them on not to bend the axle. So I usually fit things 3, 4, 5 times if you watch any of my videos. Plus I like to see how cool it looks. You put new tires on anything and it makes, you can polish a turd that way. So I got my bucket O stuff and I throw in the base as well, because that was a painted like a dull gray, and I just wanted the metal look. So I dump in my citrus strip. I'll brush it around with my toothbrush. I let it sit for this one. I was a little worried it was going to take forever, but it actually took like half an hour and it was stripped. Wash it off, clean it, and everything was nice and pretty. Aside from the horrible body lines. The window molding was all destroyed. That might have been from wear. I can't blame that one on the casting, but there's another one that runs right across the deck lid. It's just horrible. And thick too. It wasn't just a little one. So the biggest issue I ran into was the what they put as chrome molding. That goes down the side that would normally have been like a stainless or brushed stainless, that pretty much runs from the front fender all the way down, and they're just destroyed. But I filed it all down, sand it, at least the front and the back. I ended up taking, because you have to sand it so much, I ended up taking what was left of the little Chevy symbols, But that was the least of my worries, to be honest with you, with this project. I clean everything up once again with the wire brush. Be careful, wear eye protection because these little needles get everywhere. And it gets in your clothes. You can't get it out. I've washed certain sweatshirts that I happen to wear downstairs 2 or 3 times, and it's still in there. So I wanted to go with a red interior. I'm using the Wicked Colors red. I'm going to mix that with some 4012 reducer, probably about 5-10%. And I mean, I could have probably done it, but with a brush, because it is a small interior. But I just thought it was easier. I like to finish better with an airbrush if it's big enough. And I was doing the whole thing red, so I masked off the side pipes, masked off the rear bumper, and put 2 or 3 coats on this. Nothing fancy. This part I enjoy as much as I screw up painting a lot, just because I'm still learning and I'm always experimenting. So it's like every time I get a system that works, I'm like, hey, let's screw that up and try something different. So I'm always learning, and I like that. I learned a lot on this project. I bought some Tamiya gray fine gray primer. I've been using the fine white on certain projects, and I went on awesome. And I'm not going to blame this on the primer, and I'm not going to blame it on the paint either. This is the gloss black from Createx. The second I put it on, it was like oil and water. It just separated, and it was the most frustrating thing ever. I believe I had something in my gun from the last time. I mean, I cleaned it out. I usually actually dump some 4012 reducer in there, and I'll spray through. But there must have just been something in there, because what happened is I end up stripping it again, repriming it, trying it with a different black, same problem. So by now I'm losing my crap and I'm ready to blow. I ended up painting it. I ended up getting it with a pearl black, which actually I love. It's a great color by Createx. I didn't film any of it because I was getting so pissed off that I just stopped. So I went on to the windshield, which was pretty scratched up. It wasn't horrible, but being a full window all the way around, it had its fair share of abuse. So I'll wet sand it. I believe I'm using like an 800, 900,000 grit. And then I'll end up polishing it with my Chemical Guys scratch and swirl remover. It's just a glaze. I wipe it down with my towel, and I use my soft twirly thingy for polishing, and it works out really good. So there's the pearl black after 3 attempts. And again, I'm going to blame the gun. The pearl black is amazing. I love the way it looks. It's got a little bit of a gray hint to it. It's not like pitch black, but it really looks nice. I think that's just a pearl. So I gave it a quick clear coat with the Redline Shop clear coat, which I still have a bunch of, so I'm trying to use it all up. Now it's just detail. I break out my Citadel paints, and I'm going to detail the motor. The fender wells on that were chrome, and I just didn't like it. A bad black is kind of like almost like a semi-gloss satin black, so it works out good. And I just detail the motor with some lead belcher and my chrome pen for the bumpers. At this point, I was just happy to be semi-done the project. The paint thing really was a disaster. And there I am spilling some silver paint all over the place. It's not like that stuff's cheap or anything. But, I live and learn. I honestly do think it was something in my gun. So I haven't had a chance to retry that primer, but I haven't used it again either, just because I'm a little hesitant. But I'm sure I will, because I got to prove that it was not the paint. Because I've had nothing but good luck with the Tamiya primers. But as soon as I switched primers, it might have been a coincidence. It did work. Maybe it was a bad bottle, but I'm not really 100% sure. So I'm putting a little wash on the side pipes there. Do the same thing on the other side, and then I'm going to highlight the valve covers with the red, because those are like a finned Offenhauser style valve covers. At least that's what they used to be in the 50s. I think I had a motor from I put my 53 Chevy pickup out of a 55 or 57 Chevy, and it had those, so it was pretty cool. The detailing part I actually really enjoy. I picked up a new brush. Seemed like all my brushes were junk. So here I am putting a decal on. These are the flames. They come with if you buy the Super Van kit from the Redline shop. And they went on okay, and considering it was a tilt nose and I ended up having to slice it down and everything else, it actually worked fine. But I thought the flames were too big scale-wise for the car. Because I was trying to put this back to somewhat of an original, and I thought it would hide the horrible side chrome pieces that were supposed to be etched in and were just horrible. So it was a massive fail. I didn't like the way it looked. So what I ended up doing is I ended up painting it the chrome brushed steel sides and the white insert. I actually used two different shades of white. I used like a cream white and then a little bit of a I mixed it with some regular white just to give it a little bit of a shade. But that's pretty much where we're at. I apologize that this is not as good as it could have been. I can blame part of it on my shaky hands, and I can blame part of it on the horrible casting. So hope it gave you some inspiration. This is what we started with, and as cool as it is, I didn't like the tires. I didn't like those flames. Looked like they were drawn by a 2-year-old. I think in the end it came out pretty decent. Could have come out a lot better. The tilt nose, no matter what you do, just doesn't sit flush. But overall, I'm happy with it. Not my favorite project. Love the car. Love the way the paint came out. I'm not happy with the trim, but it is what it is. We move on to the next one, which is coming out awesome, by the way. So I'll catch you on the next one, and I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you.